Hey, hello, you're stuck in traffic with Wolf Gorlick. Few minutes riffing on IT and IT security. Today looking at prevalence of email security controls, SPF, DKIM, DMARC, and what it means for protecting our organization. Hey man, it's summer. This is like the first day of summer was this week, which means summer camp is right around the corner, which means if you're a hacker, DEF CON, Black Hat, and Conflict. In that order, right? What ends up happening is you get around so many people, stay up a little bit late, maybe have a couple drinks, and next thing you know, you're hit by the con flu. Now, in hacker space, that's not a good thing. You're always thinking about, hey, how can I take care of myself? How can I be healthy? But in terms of security, that brings to mind herd immunity, right? This concept of if enough people are immune to something, the disease doesn't spread. If enough people do the right things at DEF CON, maybe my people will come back from hacker summer camp and not be dead on their feet at the end of summer. Herd immunity also comes into play with security controls. So, tip for you, look at SPF, look at DMARC, look at DKIM. And a lot of organizations say, I don't want to do it. No one else is doing it. Why should I do it? Well, because these controls and their ability to decrease email spoofing and decrease phishing, the number one way criminals are getting into our networks again and again and again. These controls, which affect one of our highest vectors of infection, are just plain good citizenship at this point in time, I think. It ties into herd immunity. But a lot of people aren't doing all three. Now, they're doing SPF. We did a assessment for an organization. So I got live stats, which is pretty cool. Worldwide company, lots of email. And we looked at their business partners. Were they implementing these controls? And what would be the efficacy of putting them in place? Lots of people doing SPF. About 72% of the domains that this organization is exchanging email with has SPF enabled. That's awesome. 28% doesn't. Why not? It's just a DNS setting. Come on. But 72% did, which is really good, which meant Sender Protection Framework was protecting for this particular organization around 250,000 emails a week. Pretty hefty. Pretty hefty. Can't say the same thing about DKIM. DKIM was in the single digits. Maybe that's because of encryption keys. I don't know. DMARC, of course, rides on both DKIM and SPF and can be set to require both or just one or the other. What about DMARC? Well, we found that only around 35% of organizations were actually implementing DMARC to either flag, quarantine, or actually reject emails that did not meet the standard. It's not very high, 35%, not very high. Means around 65% of the domains were not implementing DMARC, or for this particular organization, around 180,000 emails a week. 180,000 emails a week, no DMARC. Thankfully, SPF, no DMARC. And for those that did have it, for that 35% that did have DMARC implemented, almost no one was rejecting. It was, again, single digit. I think it was around 4%. A few were quarantining. Most were just set to none, right? We got DMARC, good. No, we're not going to do anything with it. Email being an important infection vector, herd immunity being a thing. If you haven't, take a look at these controls and see if they make sense in your organization. At least SPF, which is really easy and really prevalent, can be clicked on. Have you had challenges putting these in? Got any pushback? Some interesting stories? Hit me up on social media, comments. And if I don't talk to you until then, see you at Hacker Summer Camp.